Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'd really love that. If you're returning, how you doing? What we're going to talk about right now is a survey that was taken. And this survey was taken by preppers, okay? And the results of a survey of preppers that was recently conducted by Fortitude Ranch has been released. And the CEO of Fortitude Ranch, his name is Drew Miller. He says that preppers are folks who watch events and read up on the threats, and so they have like this really good feel for what's really going on out there. I know you do it, so I do it too. You know what I mean? So we really know what's going on. We watch who we want to watch, so we can get like up to date. Like news and stuff like that from like our favorite YouTubers and stuff. Yeah. So the results are in, okay? And today, millions of Americans are preparing for the collapse of society because we really are facing a serious existential threat which could cause the complex systems that we depend on a daily basis that could fail at any time. And this survey that was conducted shows us the insight into what our community is thinking right now. Only preppers were permitted to participate in this survey, so it's really interesting. And those that responded were asked to identify the 3 greatest threats to our society. More than 50% selected loss of electrical grid as one of the greatest threats. Our sun is becoming increasingly active, and it is just a matter of time before a solar storm does a tremendous amount of damage to the grid. And once the US is involved in any kind of like a nuclear war, we won't have a functioning grid at all. So next is the economic collapse, bioengineered virus, domestic civil war due to a divided country. They were all selected by more than 40% of respondents to the survey. I think that the bioengineered viruses is something that preppers are very focused on right now because we have been through the pandemic, and we are certainly living during a time when great pestilences will become increasingly common. So it's imperative for all of us to be prepared for devastating outbreaks of anything. Now, as for our country being divided, I really do think that 2024 is going to be the most chaotic year that we have ever seen, and it's extremely unfortunate. More than 30% of respondents identified terrorist attacks as one of the greatest threats that we are now facing, but no other response even reached the 20% threshold. A nuclear war rising from Chinese invasion of Taiwan barely squeaked the 10% mark, and a nuclear war rising from the Ukraine-Russia conflict was way under 10%. If this had been a survey of, say, general population, I could understand those low numbers. Natural disasters also ranked very low on this survey, and maybe it's because the Yellowstone supervolcano was the only one that was specifically asked about in this survey. But personally, I would have added an eruption of Mount Rainier, a tsunami on the East Coast, a tsunami on the West Coast, historic earthquake along the New Madrid Fault zone, and the big one, as they call it, in California as a potential response to this survey. We are far more vulnerable than most people realize, and I am entirely convinced that there will be unprecedented natural disasters in the United States during the years ahead as our very shaky planet becomes even more unstable. Another major threat that I would have liked to see in this survey is the rapidly growing global food crisis, because I think that is the one that hits us all the most. Last year, there were 2.4 billion people that did not have enough food to eat, and 750 million of them experienced chronic hunger. And the numbers for this year will inevitably be worse. In fact, the numbers have been getting steadily worse since 2015, but that's because we live in what is considered like a very wealthy nation that still has a lot of food, and most Americans are not concerned about the global famine that has already started all of this. Another one that was mentioned was a large asteroid strike. It was just one notch from the bottom of the survey. Apparently, this is something that most preppers are not even concerned about it at all now, but they should be. And it's not like it's going to happen tomorrow or right now, but eventually the entire world will become aware of a tremendous threat that is looming in the heavens. Needless to say, there is a lot of disagreement on what our greatest threats are, but just about everyone does understand that something has gone seriously wrong with our society. And that explains why gun ownership in the U.S. has surged to heights that we have never seen before in its entire modern history of our nation. A whopping 52% of U.S. voters said that they or someone in their house owns one. And more than half of American voters, just like 52%, said that they or someone in their house owns a gun. 2019, 46% of Americans answered that question. And then in February 2013, 42% said that. So meanwhile, you have millions of Americans who are stockpiling emergency food and other supplies, right? And they can feel that this great chaos is coming. Even if they don't fully grasp all of the specifics, if you will, of the serious threats that we are now facing. If you have not been getting prepared for the collapse of society or anything, loss of income, let's just say that, okay? I would very strongly encourage you to do so. What we have been going through during these past 3 years as a whole, as a country, the world, really, it's just the tip of the iceberg. And to be honest with you, the clock is ticking, and I don't know how much longer we have left, and to put a timeline on anything is ridiculous. But I really, truly, honestly think that we could be running out of time, because Lord only knows what 2024 is going to hold for us. And then who will get in 2025? It could be even worse. You know what I mean? All right, guys, I'm out of here. I will see you in the next one, okay? You stay safe, you stay positive, you keep prepping. And as always, fear less. Bye. Ciao.